KCD, or KFC, as I like to call it, is probably the most unique RPG in the gaming space right now. And at first glance, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. It probably just looks like your old run-of-the-mill Skyrim or insert medieval RPG here type game. But there's so many unique aspects of it, from skills, story, the historical accuracy of the time period that you're playing in, the RPG elements, how those RPG elements affect dialogue, the exploration, the fast travel system. Everything about this game is so unique. So let's just get into the meat of everything. From the story, I don't want to discuss too much of the story because I feel like any little thing you talk about as far as story goes in KCD could be a potential spoiler. So basically, I'll start it off with Henry is the son of a blacksmith. You start the game out as son of a blacksmith, not some medieval knight with crazy 9,000 power. He's just literally the son of a blacksmith. So just imagine your friend Joe getting out of his fucking gaming chair. That's who you are playing at. His name is Henry. And you start the game off kind of just doing chores for your father. Going to get some money, going to get charcoal. And like I said, at first glance, this game is going to come across as unimpressive, unintuitive. But after you do these chores for your father and maybe throw some shit at a wall, the story takes off and basically a crusade comes and tears down Henry's home village. While it's all going on, a guard yells to our main character and says,
"Find a horse! Ride to Talmberg! Tell them what's coming! Warn them!"
Run by the moats! There's a path down there! Jump down from the wall and flee!
Takes off down the road and is getting attacked by Kumans and, I don't know, scary men on horse. And that's where our story takes us. And I don't want to say much more than that because I'm afraid I've already spoiled too much. And then, speaking of characters, the characters in the game are just kind of amazing. So as you're introduced to characters throughout the game, I don't think there's a single character, at least main character, that's boring. Even the side characters are fun to interact with. There was never a time that I just didn't want to talk to just some peasant walking down the road. I wanted to talk. I wanted to see their dialogue. And you're often rewarded for talking to these random characters out in the world. And talking about being rewarded for speaking to characters, we have our skill list. And you have literally a fuck ton of skills. You have strength, agility, pickpocketing, stealth, lockpicking, axes, hunting, maintenance on your weapons. Like, there's so many skills that I can't even think about how many there is. There's charisma, and that's what I was talking about as far as you get rewarded talking to just everybody in the world. The more you talk to people, the more your skill with charisma levels up, and then you can use that charisma when you get caught by a guard for picklocking a door to maybe tell the guard, "Hey, you're a goat fucker.
Hey, goat fuckers.
Go eat dicks. Get the fuck out of my face." And if your charisma's high enough, he'll go fuck a goat. So it's a bit of mind control or something, maybe. I don't know. So skills are really important. Skills are fun. I literally spent, I'm not even joking, 30 hours in my first playthrough just going town to town, picking every fucking lock to level it up so I could pick locks of the very hard locks, because you need to level your skill to be able to unlock harder locks. You know, like kind of like Skyrim in a way, if you've played that. When you're at level 1 pickpocketing, you can only really pickpocket people that are drunk or sleeping. As you level it up, you can start pickpocketing guards and people that are awake and just walking around. And you can even do it in like the broad daylight. And like I said, like I would just find myself grinding my skills, not even playing the game or the missions. And then skills brings me into combat. You level your combat skills by being in combat. Your health has a skill, and your sword and your axe have a skill. So as for combat, it's one of those things that I think is generally loved by the community, and I love it. Personally, I think it's great. There's just a lot to it and a lot that people don't understand. When they first play the game, you have to level up your sword skill, your strength to all make combat come together. And then once you do get those skills leveled up, you can go back to the weapons trainer or the combat trainer, and you can learn different skills, specifically one that's called Master Strike, which is basically what will carry you through the entire game, and it's a little bit overpowered in my opinion, because basically if you're holding your weapon in the correct area when the enemy attacks, and if you block as soon as they start their swing, you basically get free damage every single time you master strike the enemy. And for me, on my first playthrough, I played about half the game on my first playthrough, I didn't even realize that that was a thing. So when you're out fighting and you're trying to hack and slash and you're getting master striked by the enemy, it's infuriating, especially when it's like some lowly peasant just kicking your fucking ass. And that's another thing with combat, is you're not always, at least early on, supposed to engage in combat. Sometimes when you're outnumbered, especially early on, it's best to just get the fuck out of there, because level 3 or 4 Henry going up against 6-7 Kumans, you're just not gonna win, especially without Master Strike or any of those kind of overpowered abilities. And then when you get into combat with multiple enemies, it gets frustrating because they tend to like circle around you, and then you go to attack an enemy and then the enemy behind you can tackle you and hit you in the back and make you swing around, and when you're trying to move your reticle or lock on to another enemy, it all gets messy and clumpy, and it's hard, but it's fucking fun. Like at the time it feels bad, but then like when you win the fight and you finally understand combat and its difficulties and you've mastered it, I mean, it's second to none. This game is just pure dopamine. It's pure ejaculation. Like it's like, you know, like it's beautiful. And just to describe the basics of combat, I kind of consider it to be like directional combat, kind of like Ubisoft's For Honor, but not quite the same. So if you want to parry, master strike, or block, you want your weapon on the same side as your enemies, but if you're trying to attack, you want to have it on the opposite side of your enemies. So if they're up, you want to be down. If they're down, you want to be up. But if you're parrying and they're down, you want to be down. There's a lot to it, even though it kind of looks very plain at first glance. The combat system's just so hard to explain, and when it comes to how combat works early on versus later, when you start out, Henry can't even really use a sword, he can't really use a mace, he can't use an axe, so all of his animations are that of a blacksmith. Literally. I talked about your friend Joe getting up off his computer. Imagine giving him a sword and telling him to swing it. He would look absolutely ridiculous. And that's how Henry is through this game. He doesn't know how to be a thief. He doesn't know how to be a swordsman. He doesn't know how to swing an axe. He's just the son of a blacksmith. The more you use a weapon, the more you use a bow, the more proficient you get, and the better your animations get. Like, the game is just so unique in all of these aspects. And talking about the bow, if you shoot a bow and your bow skill is under level 5, you'll actually hurt yourself and cause yourself to bleed, because the bowstring, every time you loose an arrow, is cutting your wrist. So you have to level that up and use protection until you're level 5. And then Henry eventually learns, like, oh shit, okay, this is how I'm supposed to hold the bow, and you no longer are hurting yourself every time you loose an arrow. The game pays attention to these minor details, and that's what makes KCD so different from all these other RPGs. And then I already talked a little bit about the RPG elements. There's also a few other things other than just talking to people in the world. The NPCs look at you not just based on your reputation with the city that you're in, but they also look at your appearance. So if you're wearing like knight's armor, they'll address you as a knight, and you'll be respected as kind of like a badass. So any dialogue option that takes into account your strength, your armor will also boost that dialogue option. If you're dressed like a noble, like a rich guy, like a king, you'll have another dialogue option where it's like, okay, well, this guy's a noble and he's cool with the nobles, so we're going to listen to him like he's a noble. And then you have your charisma, which again, if you're dressed kind of like a peasant, peasants will listen to you more. Oh, and that's the other thing. It also depends who you're talking to. If you're talking to a guard, well, he's kind of badass too. So maybe his badass fighting, strength option is high, but his speech and his charisma is low. So you can talk to a knight as like a noble or with your charisma stat because his strength dialogue option is higher than his speech. Does that make sense? I'm probably botching that. Fuck. If you smell like shit and you've been running around for 3 days, they'll be like, hey, bro, did you roll around in shit before you came to talk to me, bro? Because you smell like fucking the back of a horse's ass, and it'll lower your charisma. And then you can go take a bath, go talk to the same person, and they're gonna be like, holy shit, nice to see you, Henry. Good day, Henry. The game just, like I said, it just pays attention to the little details, and it's just so unique. Okay, on to the exploration. Like I said, even when I was talking about the skills earlier, there was never a time that I wanted to go do the main mission. Well, there was, but I kept getting fucking distracted by picking a lock. I kept getting distracted by this little, oh, what's over here? Oh, a side quest? Oh, what's over here? Fucking a thing to go shovel? Treasure chest? More people to go talk to? Can I just do the fucking main mission, please? I've been doing this for an hour and a half. No, but seriously, that's literally what it was, bro. There's just so much shit to explore in this game. Again, when I say things are unique, the fast travel system is unique. If you want to go from city to city, you can fast travel, but your character is actually navigating through the world just a little faster for you, so you don't have to manually do it. But he may encounter bandits who will stop you, and then you have like a percent roll chance that you can either escape it or you actually have to fight or try and get away manually. But you're always like in the game. You're never just like skipping stuff. And then you have time skip, so you know that's nothing really new. I think Skyrim has time skips and stuff like that, but you know, if it says, hey, go meet these people in the woods at midnight, you just time skip and you can go meet them. It's pretty cool. Better than having to like wait hours and hours so you can go do your mission. So I like that. That's cool. And then just the last thing, graphics, right? They're dated. There's no question. It's from 2018, so I mean it's not like super dated, but dated in today's standards. It's not like looking like UE5 but with that said, the graphics still kind of hold up today to today's standards. I didn't have like a hard time looking at it. I wasn't like, oh my god, these graphics, they look like PS1 graphics, like everybody says. And then the technical issues, I mean, there's some technical issues. Kind of like walking up steps, you'll get stuck on some things, and when you fight multiple enemies, it's kind of fucking ridiculous how they just kind of spin you around, turn you around, and I don't know, they like force you to do the fucking tango. It's a little crazy. I've seen a couple bugs of people like getting off their horse and dying, but I think it's mostly like bugs that are kind of funny. I didn't really experience any game-breaking bugs in my playthrough. So, to answer the question, should you play KCD1 before KCD2 comes out? In my opinion, I think you should. I think the game is nearly perfect. It does have its flaws. It has its bugs. It has its issues, but it's just near perfect. And I think everybody should experience KCD1 at some point in their life. Even if you play it after KCD2, just play it. It's so good. I'm sure KCD2 is going to be even better. They said that the combat's going to be refined. Everything's going to be refined from AI to everything. So, I mean, even if you play it after, but I would play it first because I think KCD2 is just going to be so much better, and then you'd miss out and you'd probably less appreciate the original KCD and what brought us KCD2. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. If you like the video, like and subscribe. If you don't, well, maybe I'll get you in another video. Thank you. Peace out.